There are very few garments in menswear and men's fashion that age down quite as well as raw denim. I mean, sure, you can name some leather goods, you can name some chinos, you can even name some other naturally dyed materials, but denim just fades down and ages differently than every other garment in the world. The allure of raw denim itself is the ability to actually fade down and mirror your lifestyle over time with many years of wash and wear. And while there is a huge subculture of raw denim enthusiasts and raw denim jeans, aficionados, connoisseurs, and everything alike all over the internet, I've always said that there's really not enough coverage when it comes to raw denim jackets and how they age down and fade over time. I mean, there's a couple, namely this one video from CRD that I really like, but there's definitely a huge difference in the amount of content there is for raw selvage denim jeans as opposed to raw denim jackets. And to be quite honest with you, the raw denim jacket is probably my favorite jacket style or jacket type that there is in menswear. Even more so than the sport coat or blazer, which is something that is very partial to me. But the raw denim jacket is just something different because it is the one garment that I can definitively say just gets better and better over time, and is a garment that defied all odds and became a staple in American culture. So with that being said, about a month and a half ago to 2 months ago, I actually received this absolutely gorgeous Burgus Plus Type 1 Natural Indigo raw denim jacket. And for those who don't know, Burgus Plus is actually the in-house brand of Hinoya, which is Japan's leading menswear retailer. It is probably the biggest retailer in the world for Japanese heritage style goods and is basically a household name to all raw denim enthusiasts. And because of this knowledge that they have, because of the expertise of the artisans that they have making these jackets, this has quickly become one of my favorite jackets that I've ever owned. And when I got this jacket, I realized it had been pretty long since I've done a raw denim experiment on my channel, which I used to love to do. So what I said to myself was, I wonder how fast I can fade this jacket and see kind of what happens if I wear it every single day for a month straight. And I actually did the part 1 on my YouTube showing the jacket before we embarked on this journey. And if you haven't seen that video, definitely make sure to go check it out. And I actually ended up wearing the jacket for about a month and a week straight, minus about 2 days or so. And I've got to say, I'm actually really impressed with how much it is changed in such a short time with little wear. I mean, obviously you're not getting high contrast, super heavy fading on this jacket in just a month of wear, but there definitely is some signs that this jacket has been worn and loved already. And again, keep in mind, this is all without wash, even though I did give the jacket a soak when it first came in before I started wearing it. And I mean, if anything, that's proof that jackets do still fade even after soaking. But yeah, guys, why don't we get right into the Burgus Plus Natural Indigo Type 1 raw denim jacket after a month of continuous wear. So one of the first things that I noticed upon looking at this jacket and comparing the footage from last video is that at the top of the yoke seam as well as the bottom of the front yoke seam, you can definitely see that the tension of the stitching is starting to cause some rippling, which I really love. And some of that rippling is actually starting to fade. And the thing with that is it's only going to get more and more aggressive with the washing, and it's eventually going to start to look like those old vintage Levi's that I love so much. And you can really start to see some of that natural indigo under layers of blue starting to pop out. And even in some cases, you could see some of the white weft poking through as well. And that's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I love that even only after a month, this is starting to show some real sign of love and wear. You're also starting to get a little bit of that on the shoulder seam where the armhole meets the sleeve. And I mean, you're getting a lot of that fading at the bottom, especially where the armhole in the sleeve meets the chest. And that's probably because of the movement with the sleeve. Obviously, it's right there. And I actually have something similar to that on my sugarcane Type 1. And that's something that comes out really nice too. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna go. I also noticed that the edges of the collar, even though there's not too much abrasion, not too much stress around this area of the jacket, it is also starting to lighten up pretty nicely as well. You also get some of that on the edges of the placket where it's folded down at the top button. I mean, that's really interesting. And I just love the saturation of blue. And I'm excited to see if that's gonna start to ripple too, or if that's gonna stay flat like the tops of the collar itself or not. Moving down the jacket, now this is something that is very interesting. You actually are starting to get some fading, not just at the pleats where they're folded, which is also pretty impressive, but you're starting to get a little bit of fading where the pleats are stitched down in that kind of rectangular stitching interesting. I mean, you're starting to see a little bit of that dye bleed really starting to poke through, and that's something that I've never really seen even on my other type 1 jackets. I usually don't see jackets fade too much around stitching. Honestly, I find the opposite is true, that sometimes where these pleats are stitched, you get less fading for whatever reason. But this is really interesting, and I think it's because I've layered this jacket a couple of times with other jackets over it, but not really too much. I usually tend to wear this jacket just by itself as a top layer. But yeah, that's really cool, and I love the pleats. Again, they're fading at the edges, and I mean, I love any garment that has a pleating detail. It's just so interesting. And faded pleats just give off a look that is so alluring to me, and that I, for one, am excited to see how that's gonna change. Now looking at the pocket on the front left of the chest, you're getting quite a bit of stress points and quite a bit of fading at the edges of the pocket, as well as the miter, which is that kind of little angle or cut on the sides of the pocket that's pretty stylistic. And it's funny because I almost never use this pocket at all. I never put anything in it really, and it's still getting quite a bit of wear, which is interesting again because I've layered this jacket probably 2 or 3 times, and other than that, usually there's no abrasion here, so that's really interesting. But honestly, super cool. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen when this jacket is washed and see how that flap is gonna fade and hopefully ripple, because I love when raw denim kind of has that little tension and it starts to ripple, kind of like those stonewashed denim jeans that you would see in like the 80s or the 90s. I mean, I love that little diagonal kind of rippling, and hopefully we get some of that on this pocket as well. At the bottom, you're really starting to see the jacket kind of take shape and mirror my life, as when I button this jacket, I never button the bottom button. I start at the second bottom button and then button it to about the second button, sometimes the top button, depending on how I feel. But you're already starting to see the jacket kind of take shape and see where it starts to pull. And that's something that's really interesting because I've never had that on another jacket before, and I think this is because this is the heaviest jacket that I own. It's a lot lighter than what it really feels like. I believe this one is about 15 ounces, but it definitely has quite a bit of weight to it. And I think that's also the reason why this jacket has started to fade as much as it has, because I find that the heavier the denim fabric is, the faster it starts to fade. And I think it's because it holds creases a lot better than lighter weight denim does. Lighter weight denim kind of sheds its own wrinkles, but heavier weight denim, in my experience, definitely holds these creases a lot better and tends to fade down the denim a lot faster, in my opinion. Contrary to what a lot of other people in the raw denim community will say, but that's just been my experience. Going to the bottom or the hem of the jacket where the waistband meets the torso, you're getting some of that diagonal fading that I love talking about so much. And again, it's because of that tension. Hopefully we get some of this on the pocket, but you're starting to see some of that fading come out. And that's probably, besides the honeycombs on the inside of the arms, my favorite fade. And while I can't wait to see what that's gonna look like, I'm already pretty satisfied with how this is starting to look and can only imagine what this jacket is gonna look like on month 2. Speaking of the honeycombs, this is where I was most surprised. This jacket at the honeycombs really faded down quite nicely and pretty aggressively, if I do say so myself. For only a month, I mean, I'm very surprised. That is already starting to become very pronounced, and you can not only see it just on the front, but you can see it even on the back by the elbows. You're starting to get some of that fading there too. I mean, this is some pretty wicked stuff for literally just 30 days of wear. Maybe a little more because I pushed it out past the month, but I mean, dude, there's some people who have denim jackets that don't even get these until like month 4. It's crazy. And I think that's due to a couple of factors. I think not only the denim weight, but also the natural indigo denim fabric has something to do with it, because natural indigo, as we know, when it first started off, was not the best dye stuff, as natural indigo only coats the top of the cotton yarn. It never really penetrates, so it just kind of shaves off over time. But then with the introduction of synthetic denim, I believe in the 1920s or the mid 1910s, they introduced a synthetic compound that actually was supposed to mirror indigo, but stay on the garment a little bit longer, sometimes indefinitely. And I think because of the tendency of natural indigo, this definitely is starting to fade down pretty quickly. Again, in conjunction with the weight of the fabric and the slubbiness of the fabric as well. One thing that was interesting about this jacket, though, that I usually get on denim jackets, but didn't quite get on this jacket, is the cuff fading. Interestingly enough, I didn't get too much much cuff fading or rippling at all. I got it a lot on the sugarcane jacket that I did a video on a while back, but this one really doesn't have all that much of anything at all, which I mean, I'm not disappointed about, and quite frankly, I'm kind of intrigued by that because I love how different jackets with different weights, different amounts of time being worn, different dye stuffs, I mean, all of these things culminate to a completely different fading pattern, even though it can be made the exact same silhouette, virtually the same cut. I love the idea that raw denim can give you two different results just by shifting things around a little bit. So all in all, while I love me some cuff fading, I'm not disappointed in the slightest because this is giving me honeycombs faster than I've ever seen in my life from any garment. But yeah, moving on to the back. The back is probably where you see the most signs of wear. Again, at the shoulder yoke, right at the bottom, you've got these incredible rippling patterns that are eventually gonna mirror train tracking, which is a lovely fade on raw denim jackets. Is kind of like a rite of passage. And you can also see the pleats at the back, shoulder yoke starting to fade down as well. And again, I love me some pleat fades. I mean, they're just one of the most different and unique fading patterns that you could get. And I mean, unless your garment has these, you're never gonna find anything like this really. And I mean, going down the length of the jacket, you could see on the back, the fabric itself has definitely brightened up. It's gotten hairier. You could see a lot of the slub, the white weft poking through, and you also get a lot of gradation in blue. And I think that's because of the soak that I gave the jacket before I started wearing it. I've started soaking my raw denim before I wear it, sometimes even giving a full wash before I wear it, because I find that it helps kind of soften and set in the jacket a little bit better. You get a little bit more of that shrinkage out, even if it's a one-wash denim product, because those do still shrink a touch. And it also brightens up the blues to a very nice, truly saturated indigo blue that is so easy to dress up in style with all types of garments, and you're not always chasing the fade when you have a blue like this. And that's the thing with raw denim, is that you never really want to chase the fade. You want to enjoy the garment that you have, and you want to enjoy it over time, and the fading really, in my opinion, should just be a plus. But yeah, then moving down to the bottom of the back of the jacket, you have this gorgeous back buckle, which is synonymous with the Type 1 silhouettes, and you have some cinching back here, again, that mirrors some pleats at the bottom. And I keep this pretty tight because I like how it sits up on the body, and I also like how it gives a little bit of these pleating fades, even though the garment is technically just cinched in. I mean, it is slightly pleated, but yeah, that is gonna fade down nicely over time. And also the buckle itself, I mean, this besides the honeycombs is probably the most worn area of the jacket in its entirety. You can definitely see where the buckle meets the fabric. There's a lot of that fading, almost some white coming through, believe it or not, and this is without wash. And over time, I've seen these buckles start to ripple and gather a lot of that tension and kind of crinkle up and fade down too, and that I am excited to see. So yeah, all in all, this is a pretty cool jacket. I love the silhouette. I love the Type 1 cut. And I mean, again, Burgus Plus is just second to none. They have some of the best products that I've ever had the luxury of trying from Japan, and not just raw denim jackets. I mean, they have all types of heritage style goods, from chinos to sweaters to turtlenecks, a couple of which I actually own myself. But this to me is definitely my favorite garment from Hinoya or Burgus Plus. And not just because of the natural indigo, but because of the Type 1 cut, which is my personal favorite raw denim jacket cut. But the thing that you want to keep in mind, guys, is that these jackets come in small quantities because these are artisanally made. So if you wanted to get one of these for yourself, I'm going to put the link to the jacket somewhere on the screen or wherever the card goes, and it'll lead you right over to the Hinoya site where you can get yourself one of the Burgus Plus Type 1 natural indigo denim jackets. But if for whatever reason these jackets are sold out, which they do quite often, but they just had a restock at the time of recording this video, you can definitely check out the Burgus Plus Natural Indigo Type 2 denim jacket, which is the same fabric, just in a different cut with 2 chest pockets as opposed to 1. I believe this one is a little bit slimmer in fit, if I'm not mistaken, but it's also not all that entirely different from the jacket that I have. And I mean, I wholeheartedly recommend this jacket to anybody, especially if you value natural plant-dyed indigo as much as I do, which is something that's just really not common in Japanese clothing or menswear in general anymore. And I mean, guys, you can't simulate that natural indigo color no matter what you do or how hard you try. Natural indigo raw denim is the pinnacle, in my opinion, of raw selvage denim. And if you've never had a natural indigo piece before, then you should definitely give the Burgus Plus Natural Indigo Raw Selvage Denim collection a try. But anyways guys, yeah, that's the video. Thank you so much for staying tuned over the past month or month and a half with this raw denim experiment that I've wanted to do ever since I got the jacket, and it was so exciting to see how this jacket actually changed and fade down over time with literally just a month of wear. And I'm even more excited to see how it's going to fade down over a year of wear. Granted, I'm not going to wear it continuously anymore the way that I was, but this is my favorite denim jacket and I've only got 2 of them, so I am going to get some pretty significant wear out of this one. But yeah guys, thank you so much for the love. I couldn't be more appreciative of you guys, and we're only 500 subs away from 10K, which is absolutely fucking insane, dude. I can't even believe how we got here. I mean, it's just been one of the most exciting journeys that I've ever been on. And I mean, I've loved meeting some of you guys in real life. I've loved meeting some of my favorite creators, working with some of my favorite brands, delivering you guys insane content like this. I mean, I can definitively say that doing fashion YouTube and doing content for you guys, collaborating with the viewers, has honestly made this the happiest point in my entire life. So I could not be more thankful for you guys. And for everybody who popped out from TikTok, welcome to the channel. I appreciate y'all so much for coming to my long form content and watching. Even outside of the realm of TikTok, I couldn't be more appreciative of you guys as well. And for those of you who are new here from the TikTok, this is my main platform for content. This is my end all be all. So we're definitely going to be doing a lot more fun stuff on YouTube. And if any of you have any questions or feedback or suggestions, definitely let me know down in the comments and maybe we can make something happen. But yeah guys, with that being said, I hope y'all have a wonderful, extravagant, supremely beautiful weekend to come. And again, I couldn't be more appreciative of you guys. So thank you guys again, and I'll see you next week.